Hello everyone. Let's get started using Flipgrid by first creating our educator account. The first thing you need to do is go to flipgrid.com to where it will take you to this view. Next, go up to the top right and choose Educator Sign Up. From there, you can use your IHSD school account to create an automatic sign-in for Flipgrid. From this point, choose the correct settings for your account. I just put in my birthday for default purposes and press Let's Go. You now have your Flipgrid account. Now that you have your Flipgrid account created, the next thing you want to do are set up your grids. The way that I think about it are grids are equated to classes. For example, if you teach biology and environmental science, I would create a separate grid for each of those courses. So in order to create a grid, I simply go to Add New Grid and name it. The next thing I need to do is I need to decide what type of grid I want this to be. If you want the submissions to be limited to only Indian Hill students, make students join with their Google email account when accessing the grid. If I choose this setting, what it will ask in a moment is how do I know that that is the student email account that you want? You can do student ID, which is typically not used, or if you're doing something where people from the outside are contributing, you would want to make it a public grid. In this case, most of the time, we'll be using the school email. This is where at the bottom, you can customize the code for your grid. So let's say, for example, this is Mrs. Schaefer's biology class. What I can do is see if Schaefer is available. So Schaefer isn't available, but if I put Schaefer bio, that is. So this just makes the link a little bit easier for students to get to and a little bit easier for the teacher to remember. So I'm going to press next. And this is where it's asking to add the school email. So it might have already defaulted to including this for you, which is great. If not, you just want to type in exactly what you see here, at ihsd.us. Meaning, if students are trying to access the grid with an email that's anything different than that naming convention, it will not let them access the grid. So if I press next, my grid is ready. From this point with your grid, I can edit the look of my grid by going up here to this pencil. Now here's the fun part, is obviously we have to make this fit our style. So it defaulted to this art picture, which is beautiful, but I want something a little bit more science related. So if I scroll down, it gives me a few options of what I can use. So let's go into nature since we're talking about science. And let's go with, what am I feeling like today? This looks cool. We'll go with the jellyfish. And I'll press Update Grid. So if you're curious what this looks like from a student standpoint, again, this is the teacher dashboard that you're in currently. Students will never see this view. If you are curious about what the student view looks like, you simply have to click here to view as a student, log in with Google, and this is what students will see when they navigate to your Flipgrid page. Now that you have your first grid created, you are ready to start creating your assignments. Be sure to pay attention to the view you are in under the educator dashboard through each of these steps. Currently, I am viewing my grids. Again, think about my grids as my courses. So I'm going to click on biology, and it says grid details. So I'm inside of this grid, I'm inside of this course. All of the grids has this topic on it initially. At this point in the year, I don't necessarily need my students to say hello on Flipgrid, so I don't want that to be one of my topics. In order to delete a topic, you go over to the right-hand side where it says Actions, click on the drop-down menu, and choose Delete Topic. Now I'm ready to add the first topic for my students. So I'm going to talk about mitosis and meiosis. Oh gosh, not sure if I spelled that right, but we'll see. The first choice you have is the recording time. I would give students a little bit extra than you think they're going to need, but I would not give them 5 or 10 minutes to talk unless you really want it to be that long. Because as we know, students will take up that entire time talking if we allow. Next, you'll put your prompt, again, what question you want the students to answer, if there's bullet points that you want them to cover in their discussion, add your prompt here. So I'll just put, please discuss the differences. What is neat about this option is that if you have a YouTube video that you want them to reference before they respond, if there's an infographic or an image, if you want to record a video, say for example with a prompt, and this would be especially great for world language classes, you can record your own video or you can connect it to any of these tools. Again, what I think is the most powerful is you give the students a stimulus of some type and have them use that in their response. So I'm going to press more options. And this gives you a few more details to look at. If there's an attachment that you want to give the students, say a Google Doc that you want them to reference, maybe that has a rubric, you can add an attachment to your topic. Video moderation is nice if you don't want the students to see each other's ideas. If you think maybe they're going to say similar things, you can turn on video moderation to where students don't see them until you release them. I think this is a great tool to use within Flipgrid, student-to-student replies. Maybe make the first part of the assignment where the student responds to the Flipgrid, and then the second week, maybe they have to pick someone to respond to. And then you can choose if you would like the grid to be frozen at any point. So say if we are in school, the typical school day, and it's synchronous instruction and you want it done by Friday, you can choose to freeze the date at a specific point. But in this case, since we're asynchronous and we want to give students flexibility, I wouldn't freeze that grid at a certain point. If I scroll down a little bit more, you have some video features. So students can add selfies, they can add videos, they could do both. The fun thing is students love to use the stickers and drawings on their selfies because not everybody loves to have their picture taken. And this lets students have a little bit of fun with it. Allowing them to add hashtags, the view count. Depending on your clientele, some students this may excite, some students this may worry and maybe make them feel left out. But just in terms of the engagement of your class in general, the view count might be something good to leave on or turn off. Sticky notes are something I will show you here in a bit from the student view. Essentially what it does is it allows students to keep notes off to the side as they speak versus having them written down on a piece of paper that they're looking up and down at the computer. Video editing is a great option. Attachments, letting them include something to support if they would like with their video. And then allowing students to like each other's videos. Sometimes this is fun because you could say, who do you think explained this best? And students can like it, and whoever has the most likes gets featured in the class maybe on the next day. So this one, again, is up to you and your classroom culture, the view count and the likes. And finally, you have the feedback options. In my opinion, I don't think feedback within Flipgrid is necessarily easily accessible to the kids, nor will they know to go into that. So I would put the feedback under their assignment, whether that be in Google Classroom for the younger grades or in Canvas. And then press Create Topic. You now have your first assignment for your course. So if you are using Google Classroom, you can simply press Share to Google Classroom. Or if you're in Canvas, you just copy this link and paste it in your Canvas course. And that's exactly what students will use to complete that assignment. Now, for students to submit their video, it's as easy as them clicking on that link that you shared and clicking a plus button. So if I am in my grid right now, this is the student view, so I'm a student looking at this. All I have to do is scroll down and press the plus sign. And it'll bring up my camera. And if I want, I can even apply filters, which we'll do that since there's some remote learning going on. So the students can put a filter on themselves. They can even granulate themselves a little bit if they don't want to be seen. And if I click back there, I can add text if I want, stickers if I want to put those. So maybe I'll put a sticker on there. Oops, I just flipped it instead of moving it. So I'll put a sticker on there. You can draw, you can use a whiteboard. There's so many options for students as they start to submit. The sticky notes that I mentioned earlier are up here to the right. So if I choose a sticky note and I want to put, remember to talk about all of the differences. Obviously, they would probably have more specifics here, but now that sticky note can stay up while students are speaking and they're not having to look down at their notes and look back up at the Flipgrid. Also, if they forget what the topic is or what that assignment is that you gave them, they can click here. And anything you put in there, whether there's a stimulus or text, they can see and they can collapse that as well. And then when they're ready, they simply press record. And if students have the Flipgrid app, it would work the same way in the Flipgrid app. So I'll press record. This is me pretending that I remember mitosis and meiosis, even though my dad was a biology teacher for 35 years. So this is about all I've got. So students could press pause. And again, even if they want to maybe do a stop motion animation, they could do this where they speak a little bit and start it back up again. Or they can choose to redo the entire section. But I'm going to press next. I'm happy with that answer. I'm not sure that that answer is going to get any better. So I'll press next. I would take a selfie. This is again where if students want to apply filters, go ahead and apply the same filter there. They want to put stickers, they can. This is where students' personalities can really shine. So I'll say next. Give myself a name. I'll just title it. I'll put my real name in there. Again, a title is optional and a link is optional. And I'll press submit video. And this is when it will give the students the option if they want to download their submission, for example, a saved their portfolio. And if I press complete, there's my video. I think some of the greatest power in Flipgrid is the ability for students to reply to one another. So if I were another student in the class and I wanted to reply to this person's video, I would just simply press this, and now I can create a reply. So when you're thinking about, do I want to do a discussion board in Canvas, for example, or a Flipgrid, think about the interactivity aspect of it and what this could allow. Also the fact that if you left this as an open or a public grid, that parents could comment, that experts in the field could comment, or that even your administration could comment. And that's how easy it is for students to submit their Flipgrid videos.